Well, 50 years ago this week, a bill was signed into law that transformed the lives of women. Title IX prohibited discrimination in any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. That included colleges and women's athletics. It led to the creation of thousands of women's sports programs, and today more than 200,000 women compete in collegiate sports. Newsy national correspondent Kat Sandoval gives us a closer look at the law and its passage.
Title IX is marking its 50th anniversary, celebrating a civil rights law aimed at expanding higher education for women, but one that also changed women's sports. Now the question is, where do we go from here?
Title IX was landmark legislation that truly changed the landscape for women athletes in our country. It had definitely impacts beyond sports, but in terms of the athletic space, it created opportunities in every year since.
Before Title IX, gender inequality and sex discrimination in education was high. In the 1970s, 44% of women graduated high school, but only 11% attended colleges. Young women were not admitted into many colleges and universities.
There used to be quotas for women entering the educational space, and also the ability for universities to say that we do not want women in our programs.
To address these educational inequalities, former Indiana Senator Birch Bayh crafted the original legislation. And in the House, Hawaii Representative Patsy Mink, the first woman of color to be elected into Congress, authored and sponsored the bill that eventually became her namesake. In June 23, 1972, President Richard Nixon signed Title IX, or the Patsy T. Mink Equal Opportunity in Education Act, into law. It prohibits sex-based discrimination in any educational program that received financial assistance from the federal government.
Girls during that period of time were not getting the same amount of financial support that boys were in terms of going on to college. And all of that, of course, translated into access to education, and then ultimately into access to just doing any number of jobs.
Even though Title IX didn't include the word sports or physical ed, the 37-word law had an extreme change on sports by expanding funding and opportunities. Before 1972, 1 in 27 girls played sports. Today, it's 2 in 5 girls. While the law is effective, there's still more work to be done. This viral video from last year shows some key differences.
So for the NCAA March Madness, the biggest tournament in college basketball for women, this is our weight room. Let me show y'all the men's weight room.
Inequalities still exist, like the gender pay gap in post-collegiate sports. The U.S. women's soccer team just this year won their lawsuit to be paid equally to the men's soccer team. But for some female athletes who move on and graduate, they have to go international to make more money.
Have this incredible range of talent that is in many ways the benefactor of Title IX, and yet there aren't places and adequate pay for them once they graduate, right? Or once they win a championship.
For example, the average NBA player makes about $5.3 million. On average, WNBA players make about $128,000. Still, the law gave way to professional opportunities like the WNBA, the National Women's Soccer League, and the Olympics.
The law is truly fundamental in creating a space for women to participate, but also for fans and people in our society to see women participating in sports spaces.
Soccer player Carly Lloyd, a 2-time Olympic gold medal winner who played for Rutgers, said Title IX opened doors around the world.
Title IX has given me the opportunity to pursue my dreams and goals, and this is why I honor the past, because history matters.
Kat Sandoval, Newsy, Chicago.